And for more insight on the Republican National Convention now, Fox 5 political analyst Carl Luna is joining us now. And Carl, it's really nice to see you amid this pandemic. It's been a while. We have the reality TV president in President Trump, and this was quite a production and show tonight. So give me your thoughts of this last night of the Republican convention and highlights.
Well, I think it was pretty much what one would expect, Kathleen. The president and the people talking before him, Rudy Giuliani, etc., were really trying to bash Biden and then paint out that the President Trump is a nice guy. He can reach out across the aisle, diversity and all that, but at the same time attacking protesters, attacking the Black Lives Matter movement. The speech itself was long. It was over an hour, the longest acceptance speech. You can tell President Trump has missed the crowd because he got that crowd in there and just didn't want to let them go. But that being said, it was kind of like a replay of his best hits from his State of the Union. I don't think it was necessarily the most powerful speech he could have given.
Did he make his case for 4 more years with the backdrop of a pandemic and an economy that's struggling and, of course, this social injustice and racial tensions that are boiling over?
Yeah, Kathleen, if you take the case he and his supporters have laid out, yes, he did. I mean, he said the economy was going to get better, promised a COVID cure by the end of the year or sooner, talked about how that they were going to restore law and order, but it's always only part of the story. His claims on the economy were overstated, to be sure. The COVID problems have been happening on his watch. All the problems with race relations in America is on his watch. He doesn't want to take that on. That's what the Democrats will attack him on, while he attacks them for being the most radical Marxist socialists of modern times, which is kind of a hard claim to make with Joe Biden.
Well, the polls are tightening, at least some of the recent ones that I have seen. Republicans over the course of the past 4 days, have they made any inroads with the voters that they need to?
Well, the voters they really need to make inroads with are suburban voters, and particularly white women, who are a major voting bloc for the suburbs. That's where the battle's going to be fought. I'm not sure there was a whole lot being offered that might bring in that voter bloc, though there was the attempt to be made that if the suburbs are going to be safe and your kids are going to be safe going to school, you got to vote for Donald Trump. For people over the age of 50, that might resonate, but they don't have kids. Millennial voters are more progressive than their parents were. That could be problematic. If you can't win the suburbs, you really got to rack up the score in the more rural areas and the older population, which he's also not doing well with, the older population with the COVID crisis.
Will these conventions matter in 2 weeks when it comes to what happens on November 3rd?
Yeah, it's a funny thing about history. It plays out in different spurts and over different periods of time. Conventions may not matter in the short run, but they become part of a tapestry of how you define a presidency. For example, the discussion being had about how this was done at the White House. Now, people may look at that and say, oh, well, it's his house, he can do it. It's not his house. From a political science viewpoint, a historical viewpoint, there seemed to be a proprietariness that the president is putting on the things that he's supposed to be managing for us, which could be problematic. You see that in other countries, not here. The only thing missing tonight was a big Trump sign over the White House and have it annexed to his corporate properties. Now, if that costs him some votes, future presidents will not do that. I'm worried that it might work for him, and then everybody will start to treat the Oval Office and the White House as a political prop.
Yeah, there's a lot at stake with this election, and people keep reiterating that on both sides. And the overarching themes for each convention, how would you characterize the message that the DNC left with voters and the Republicans?
The Democrats kind of left a grim optimism. They said, look, things aren't good. There's darkness, but we're going to get through it. But to do that, we have to start over. We have to have a new administration and move forward. Donald Trump is just kind of the inverse of that, saying it's going pretty good right now. But if you bring the Democrats in, kind of a happy pessimism, I'm doing well, but the Democrats will destroy America. I haven't heard rhetoric that severe against the other party, maybe since the Nixon years against George McGovern in '72. And even then, it was toned down. It wasn't using the Marxist word, the socialist word as much. Now, that may well resonate in the president getting his base out, but it may alienate a lot of more moderate voters who think, hey, maybe a little bit more government wouldn't be a bad thing.
Well, Carl Luna, our political analyst, thank you for giving us a little more food for thought tonight. It's really great to see you, and I'm glad that you're remaining healthy amid this COVID crisis.
Thank you.